exciting. I don't know if you know me, but my name's Hannah, and I'm the chemistry and biology teacher at UKVS, and I'm currently in the south of Spain, and I have a lot of questions. What's the name of that mountain range? Are these species of oak the same as what we have in the UK? Why is this ant so massive compared to the other ants? Why are those birds spiraling around with the paragliders? I wonder where this goes. What's beyond that gate? Why are the buildings white here? Why is the clouds getting hazy? I suppose I could ask someone. Hey Matt. Why is it hazy outside?
Because there are like small particles of stuff that are, they might not be lighter than air, but what do you call it? Basically,
okay, that's not very helpful. Thank you. Well, that wasn't very useful. Maybe the internet knows. Okay, let's try Googling. Why are the clouds hazy in the south of Spain? Lots of breathing warnings. Dust, dust, dust. I don't know if this is very helpful. You know, I do have some books on clouds. Maybe they can help me. I think I've found the answer. I think they might be cirrostratus, not progressively invading the sky. Okay, so this is a curiosity coaching session. This video is for the primary students of UK Virtual School. We're going to talk about curiosity, what it is, and how can we quench our curiosity? How can we fulfill our need to understand the world? So, why is it good to ask questions? Everyone has questions. Everyone wants to know the answer to things. But how do we make sure that we are asking good questions? So, are your questions answerable? Do they make sense? When you ask someone a question, do you think it has an answer? Some questions don't have answers, and that's fine. But we can usually break those questions down into smaller questions so that we can get the answer we are looking for. So sometimes asking why is a really, really good idea. But maybe asking why is the sky blue might be tricky. You might want to look more at, why are things certain colors? What is color? So you can ask more questions around the bigger, more harder to ask questions, and then break it down into bits that are easier to ask people. Now that you've got your question, though, you've got a question in your mind, how can we find an answer? What do you do when you have a question? Do you just forget about it and say, oh, probably no one will tell me the answer? Do you hunt for the answer yourself? So you could ask a friend. Maybe you know someone who knows a lot about a subject. Maybe you are learning to play a computer game and your friend is really good at that. So you can ask them, how do I do this thing? How do I get to where you are? They might be able to help you. You could, along the same idea, ask in class. So maybe something comes up in your class that you are really curious about. Maybe you're sitting in a science lesson and the teacher mentions the heart. You really want to know about the heart. So you could ask in the class, Obviously, at UKVS, we have a bunch of ways you can ask a question in class. You could be a little rude and just blurt it out, but that's not always the best way to do it, is it? You want to be polite when you're asking your questions. So maybe you click the little icon that raises a hand, and then you can ask your question when the teacher calls on you. Or maybe you ask in chat. It could be a question for the whole class. Maybe someone in your class knows the answer. So you could send it to everyone, or you could just send it to your teacher and see if your teacher can answer it. This is a really good way to find answers to very specific questions at the time. Now, sometimes though, they may not know the answer or may not have time to get to that question. So what do? We're stuck with this burning question inside our head that we want to know the answer to. So we have to find it out ourselves. So how can we do that? First thing, write the question down. Make sure you know what your question you are asking. You could then use different resources that are available to you to find the answer to that question. So you could ask the internet. The internet has lots of information on it. So you could use websites like Google to type your question in. So you might type the question in, why is the sky blue? Now, the problem with the internet is that it's not just for you, it's not just for me, it's for everyone in the world, and everyone has different levels of understanding. So sometimes it can be a bit tricky to find the right information for the question you're asking. You might ask, why is the sky blue? And you might get a physicist explaining the calculations behind refraction of light or something. And that's quite an in-depth answer. Or you might find someone who's simply wrong. You might find someone who thinks the answer is the sky is blue because a gnome went to the sky and painted it that color. I think that's probably not correct. So you have to be careful when using the internet that you're using it in the right way and that you're asking the right questions. If you're struggling with it, ask your parents to help you to figure out which websites might be suitable for you. Another way that you know you could find some good information might be to use a book to help you answer your question. So if you use a book, you could go to your local library to find books on a subject. So say you're interested in light. You could do something like I've done here. I found a science study book. Inside my science study book, there is the table of contents. Here, I've managed to find the section on light and dark, which says it's on page 64. So if I turn to page 64, I will find a whole load of information that I might not have known about before. Books are really good at giving you lots of information around a topic you might be curious about. So, what if, though, you see something on the page that you're not sure about, some words you don't understand? Most books will have a glossary like this at the back, and you can find words that you want to know the meaning of. So here I found the word light source, and that means an object which produces light. So I now know that I can look up words, what they mean. I can look up lots of information. But what if I wanted to find all the information in this book on light? I can go to the index. Now, in the index here for light, we've got all of these different pages about light. So I'm going to go to the first one, page 14. So I'm going to flick through the book and see what I can find about light on page 14. Now, sometimes this might take you down a different route for your curiosity. So here we have light and how it helps plants grow their own food. This is a really important part of light, but it's not something that I was even thinking about. But now my curiosity has taken me down a different route. I've maybe now started learning about plants, which is really cool. So, for your tasks, I want you to think about what topics are you curious about? What is a topic that you've always wanted to know more about? Okay, it could be anything. It could be space. It could be art. It could be small fish on a coral reef. Whatever it is, it can be as specific or as broad as you want it to be, but it just needs to be a topic. Your second task is to ask a question about that topic. Okay, so say you wanted to find out about coral reefs. You might want to ask the question, where can I find coral reefs? And then I want you to try, what methods will you use to try and find the answer? What do you think is the best way to do this? Do you think it's best if you ask a friend or ask your teacher or use a book or maybe search the internet and see if you can find the answer there? I want you to have a go at a couple of different methods. Okay, have a go at a couple of different ways of finding answers. Do you get the same answer each time? Do you get more information one way or another? Does it take your curiosity in a new direction? Then I want you to say, what was the best answer that you could find? What was the best answer to your question that you could find? You might say, oh, I found a really long answer. Is that a good answer though? Does that help you understand? Does that open up even more questions? Or do you find it quite difficult to work through? Maybe it's a bit too much information. Or maybe an answer was too short, so you didn't think it was very useful. Maybe you thought the person who told you the answer probably was incorrect as well. So have a go at using different ways to find answers to your questions. I hope your curiosity is piqued by this. You can take it in whatever direction you want. And we will see you in the coaching sessions. Bye.